Gotta ask. I'll go start with you, Miss Krssi Luv. What was kind of your reaction to everything, and where do you see you've watched a lot of wrestling in your lifetime? What do you think the John Cena heel turn ranks in all time greatest heel turns?
Um, it's up there with Hogan. I think it's definitely number two for sure. Um, I'm happy that it happened. I just want to give my boy SP props because he's the first one, original one that said this gimmick and turn from the get go. And not a lot of people are giving my friend flowers, so whatever. Fuck you.
Mm.
Anyhow, um,
That's a message for Romeo. Oh, but yeah, go ahead.
okay, well,
Is that why I haven't seen Romeo in a while? Like, what's going on in you guys, man?
No,
God.
no, I did do victory laps around him on Rated Raw review because he didn't want to give me credit. Go ahead, Chrissy.
okay, well, I'm sorry, Romeo, that you didn't want to believe our good brother up here. But anywho, I think it was very well done. I loved it. I was at a dinner party and I tried to be discreet with me watching. A lot of people out, and I'll be like, anywho, so I was really kind of up excited as I was like online with you guys because I was at a party and had to kind of compose myself. But I loved how it's when I came back home and I watched it and I was like, this is pure cinema. I mean, this is like good, like turn, like it goes to like the bloodline cinema, I feel like from like 2 years ago. I feel this was really good. They did this well. And everything played in the line. Travis Scott being there, he had nothing to do with it, but him being there just made it even better. Like
He
it's
added
so
the views. He made it more viral.
he made it
He
more
made it
viral.
more
Like
viral.
he made people like want to talk about like he got whole Shannon Sharp, you got Uncle Sharp, you want to go and like fight and be like in a tag match with Cody Rhodes. Like like this is why we love wrestling. This is great stuff. People just don't understand it. I got people hit me up. It was like, yo, John Cena just did some stuff. I was like, yes. They was like, how do you feel about it? I was like, I'm excited. You're not. It was like, no. It's like, see, because they're not heels like us. Because the heels are always have fun. Like we're the good guys. They just don't understand it. Like they don't understand. Like we've always been trying to tell you guys, like, come to this side of the town. You'll understand why. But it's okay. Whatever. We have more fun anyway, so it's all good.
We revel in these type of moments.
We
Sat,
do. We do. It's so good.
Sat, you're
Yeah.
someone else who watched a lot of wrestling in your lifetime. What do you think the John Cena heel turn ranks? And if it's not the greatest of all time, do you think that it could become the greatest of all time?
See, that's the key right there. Because I think is because we're still on the heel turn mode. I can't rate it at the moment. You know what I'm saying? We've had Shawn Michaels turn to Hulk Hogan, then a month later say, you know what, guys? I just wanted to know if I could win. And then that kind of diluted the turn. You know what I'm saying? Had that turn sustained for years, you'd be like, oh, that heel turn led to this run. It could lead to a 1 week run, a 2 week run, or a few months run. At the moment, I say Hogan's number one because it changed the business. Number two, Austin, because it changed the business for the negative, but it's still impactful because it did add to his legacy. Because no matter what you say, good or bad, that turn of WrestleMania 17 is legendary. As much as I hate seeing a black brother get beaten up with a chair so many times and he's bleeding like a stuck pig, that is what happens with The Rock inside WrestleMania 17. With his Cena turn, I put it as comfortable number 3 because of the significance of the length of him being a babyface, which has been like 20 plus years being a babyface before turning heel again. Something that people thought wasn't going to happen anymore, especially in this run. But what we've learned with The Rock, who've rewritten the story, actually, you know what? I'm going to give Rock credit. A guy named Adam Copeland tried in WWE as Edge to rewrite the story of not resting on your laurels, on your greatest hits, trying to reinvent yourself. Edge them, comfortably do the change with Judgment Day because he was trying to do it. He was trying to not to live off past glories. What we hated about Edge, Rock did better. Because I have to give Edge his props because no one's gonna remember that. They'll think, oh, Find a Boss changed the game. Like late in your career, you become a heel to reinvent yourself, change your music or change your presentation. Edge tried to do that, didn't work. But Rock was successful. Find a Boss was successful. It created a new playbook to show you that, listen, you may be a legend, you may be on the twilight of your career, but it doesn't mean you still can't, reinvent the game and still be an impact or an asset to the company. Because that's what Cena is right now. When he was a babyface, he was like the ambassador, like the old guard. He's everything that Vince McMahon wanted in the top guy, where he was obedient. He's like, you're now in the middle of the card. Sure, boss, give me the IC title. You're going to lose to Austin Fury. If I have to that son of a bitch, but I'm gonna bury him just to let him know he's not
bury
on my
him
level.
along the way. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Because Cena does that. If he thinks you're not on his level, I think they did Roman Reigns with the original big dog. He was like, this guy's not on my level, so I'm gonna expose him so that like that fire under him to be better. I think he does that. He knows it. It's like you're getting handed opportunities. I didn't. I got friends get fired. None of you are getting friends get fired. But to wrap up the point that I was trying to make, yeah, it's top 3 for me because the significance of who Cena is. And also, I'm waiting to see if this run is great, it'll go number 2. But at the moment, I put it in number 3 because it's just the turn at the moment, and we haven't seen where it's taken us. So, yeah.
Josh, what about you? Where do you think the John Cena heel turn ranks all time? And do you think it can become the greatest heel turn of all time?
I'm kind of with Sat on this. I really don't want to rank it just because it just happened and we don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? As in like, we don't know what's going to happen going forward because, you know, it could either be great or it could be a sinking ship. Yeah, it could be a sinking ship. But we haven't, we haven't gotten there yet. I mean, we just haven't gotten it. That's more so what it is. But then the significance of it happening and everybody talking about it and, the news media talking about it, even some of the sports, even in sports they were talking about it. MLB did a post about Cena's heel turn. It's like those are things that you really don't see at all. So I think that's why. I'll wait and see, but it definitely could be one of the. Definitely could be I would say a top 2, just because I still think the Hogan turn will still be number 1 just because of what it did for their business, like what it did for WCW. Once that heel turn happened, they were beating the shit out of WWE for almost 2 years. So, we're just at a point where WWE is just number 1. So him turning heel is not going to like really, they're already doing great business. I'll add more to the business, but it's not really doing anything when it comes to that, just because they're already at a good spot when it comes to that. The Hogan turn, obviously, it turned things around for WCW. For better or worse, it did. Ended up what it ended up being after everything, turned to shit. But I still probably put that number 1, even though I still don't like Terrence from Florida.
Yeah, none of us like Terrence from Florida.
None of us do, though.
We also got to respect history. And you said you can't rank it. Well, don't worry, because I'll do it myself. Wow. As you see, I did do it myself. Sports Illustrated, SI.com. I posted up the John Cena and the 10 biggest pro wrestling heel turns in pro wrestling history. Sat, you're gonna have to pull down your camera a bit because all we can see is your forehead at this point.
I don't know what the heck happened. Like, wait, what is going on?
There you go. There you go.
It didn't heal me. Hey.
But yes, I did our ranking.
I'm enjoying this, and all of a sudden you're saying my forehead. I was like, my forehead. I was like, what the heck?
I was like, all I see is your forehead. I literally put down the banner so we could see you, and then all I saw was your forehead. So I had to say something. But yes, I did it. I was like, I went to my editor. He gave me a bunch of articles and stuff to do. And I was like, well, this is a more timely one that I think I should probably do this week, seeing how big this heel turn was and see where it should rank. So I did the 10 biggest heel turns in pro wrestling history. I got feedback from our True Hill Heat team, got feedback from Jimmy Macaram, got feedback from the Sports Illustrated writing team. So here's how I ranked it. Coming in at number 10. See, I had to show some love to historical significance. So something that probably not a lot of you will remember or make note of or probably never seen before. So it's a good article for you to look at. Number 10 is the Von Erichs versus the Fabulous Freebirds Rivalry is Born, which is from World Class Championship Wrestling Christmas in the Cage 1982. It was Kerry Von Erich versus Rick. I wasn't even born yet. I wasn't born until 6 years later. But I watched it this week, and I shout outs to John Alba, who did put on Twitter that he bullied me into putting this on my list because I was going to show love to like Steen and Generico from ROH, but he was like, this is more historically significant than that one. And I was like, respect, you are right. I watched it back. It's the most clusterfuck filled heel turn you will ever see. It's so sloppy, but it's so chaotic, and it incites a freaking riot in Texas. It's so great. Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy slamming the cage on Kerry Von Erich's head, making the Fabulous Freebirds the #1 heels in Texas in World Class Championship Wrestling, and the Freebirds versus the Von Erichs is the OG faction war. And that basically helped WCCW stay alive for like 4 more years. They were pretty much dead in the water in 1982 because WWF was about to make their rise just 1 year later, but that kept them afloat for like 4 more years, was the Von Erichs versus the Freebirds. So that's why I had to put it on the list here. Coming in at number 9, this is one that I've gotten some pushback, and people say I should have had this higher, and I respect the people who say that because this is a significant one. Andre the Giant turning on Hulk Hogan and aligning with Bobby the Brain Heenan. Basically, the build, the setup.
Oh, yes, Andre I remember that. Yes.
At WrestleMania 3, one of the biggest main events in wrestling history. So I can respect anybody who thinks that should have been higher for sure. Also, another one that a lot of people said higher wasn't just Sat. It was actually Jimmy Macaram as well, who said this should have been a top 2-1. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin makes a deal with the devil himself, Mr. McMahon. I'm sorry. To me personally, if there's a heel turn that you say it shouldn't have happened, they shouldn't have done it, and they shouldn't have done it in the place they did it, and then it leads to the end of their boom period and the end of their big business. Yeah, it's big, but is it? I'm also judging it on the quality of the heel turn, and is it a good decision? So that's why it is a little bit lower than some people would put.
Sir, can I speak, sir?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Do you guys remember Stone Cold's 2002 run before he walked out? Do you remember Austin in 2002? It was rubbish, right? It seemed like he was out of place. It's so awkward, right? Austin in 2002 is like they've ran the well dry and what to deal with him. So I felt like he was right in terms of doing the heel turn. He's always been ahead of the curve. He's seen the Rock's over. A lot of new guys have come since I've been gone. Maybe I should be.
But the Rock's leaving. The Rock's leaving for 4 months. That totally negates the whole idea.
That's not his fault. That's not his fault. Listen, my guy's not gonna be like, oh, Rock. My guy is thinking in the future, is like, okay, I'm gonna turn heel, pass the baton to The Rock and potentially Triple H because we've been building him. Maybe that's why he lost to him at bloody No Way Out, so he can build him up to be the guy.
This is the other thing. They doubled down on making this a bad decision by having Triple H align with him the next night. It's the most logical thing for you to do if a Rock is leaving for 4 months is turn Triple H babyface.
Bingo. But I feel like I'm just talking about Austin. In the entire thing, I'm with you. I'll never disagree. Like, listen, wrestling became crap for a reason. Austin turning heel twice in 1 year was too much for my soul. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that he had the right thing in mind. It's just, unfortunately, they didn't have the people there. That's what it was, unfortunately. Triple H, for some weird reason, he's like, no, this looks fun. I ain't want to be part of this. He's like, no, be a bloody babyface, you dickhead. You know what I'm saying? Not a year later when no one really cares. You see, he fucked up there. They both fucked up, I guess. Maybe they both turned too early. I don't know. Who knows?
It's just if there's something where I like this shouldn't have happened, then I can't rank it that highly. But I will say it is big. It's like, guys, I see someone in the chat being like, "Oh, what a disrespect! What an insult to World Class Championship Wrestling!" Hey, literally, they made the list. Like, if they didn't make the list, then that's an insult. They made the list. Like, why are you acting like it's a disrespect to have them at 10? Like, they made the list of the biggest heel turn. There's multiple heel turns that didn't make the list that probably could have. But number 7 is The Rock aligning with Mr. McMahon and the corporation. This really starts The Rock being a top star in WWE. He becomes the youngest ever WWE champion, and Deadly Games is considered one of the creative achievements of the WWE Attitude Era. So that's why I ranked it a little bit higher than the Stone Cold one, because that one I'm like, no, this was the right decision, even though they had literally just turned The Rock babyface. After he got over in Madison Square Garden at SummerSlam, they literally turned him babyface, had him turn against the Nation, had him do the rock bottom and the whole beat down on Vince McMahon, and then 2 weeks later he turns heel. Like, this was so well done, and a lot of people at the time was like, "Oh no, Rock could have been a big babyface for you," but it was the right decision in the long run. So that is number 7 here. Number 6. We got here, Shawn Michaels throws Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window. This is another one
that's another one that was good. Yeah, that's another one that was like significant as a my childhood.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This was another one that I had people say I should have ranked it higher. Do you think so, Krssi?
No, I think it's perfectly.
No.
I mean, I gotta see what else is at the top, but I think it's at number 6 is perfectly fine.
You know, that is a good response. I have to wait and see who else you put above it, because this made Shawn Michaels. Without this significant angle, there is no Shawn Michaels. He's probably, you know, in the convention circuit talking about I shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Instead, it's Marty Jannetty doing that.
Yeah. It's Marty Jannetty running the PC. Marty Jannetty running the
Imagine,
PC, right?
Well, Marty, hey, shout out to him. We did an interview with him 2 years ago.
Nice guy in person. So I don't want to shut on him too much.
Yeah, nice guy. He's a nice guy. Number 5, we have here the Mega Powers explode as Macho Man sees lust in Hulk Hogan's eyes. This one I had to put up here because I felt like this is like one of the first versions of long-term storytelling in WWE history. Like, this was them coming together in January of 1988, and then a whole year later is when Macho, after months and months of little hints, Hogan touching Miss Elizabeth's ass, putting her on his shoulders and stuff like that, and Macho just had enough and snaps on him. I felt like this had to be high up on my list.
That's Jade Bianca and Naomi right now.
Naomi saw lust in Jade's eyes. But yes, the mega.
Now it's questionable because I'm like, you sure it was a heel turn?
I mean, Macho did nothing wrong, to be fair.
Macho Man did. I've been saying this for years. Macho Man did the right thing. He knew what that nigga was doing. He had his own wife at home. Fuck you. Don't be looking at my lady.
Not even just that. Hulk Hogan's got a history of sleeping with his mates' wives. I'm talking about in the 80s. Him and Vince McMahon allegedly used to swap Lindas. Or if you didn't know. I'm sorry.
Jesus. I did not know that. I did not know that.
Whoops. Linda. No, my Linda. Your Linda. Yeah. They used to get freaky like that. Yeah.
Number 4. Maybe this is a bit of recency bias from over 10 years ago.
I'm gonna say this one, friend.
Seth Rollins turning on the Shield and joining the Authority literally created 3 of the biggest stars of the past decade. It literally it breaks the tether of one of the great factions and then makes Seth Rollins into the top heel in the company, leading to his Money in the Bank cash in, the heist of the century. Roman Reigns becomes the pet project of the guy that they want to build as the next face of the company. And literally this whole turn is what basically creates the bloodline. That's why Roman Reigns turning heel, I had to leave that off the list because I think that this is more significant to Roman becoming heel and creating the whole bloodline himself, and literally this turn is why Roman lost the world title at WrestleMania last year. 10 years later, it's still affecting him. This still has consequences. 10 years later, we're going into WrestleMania, and who's feuding with each other? Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Literally, this one turn has dictated 10 years of storylines for WWE, and then you have Dean Ambrose, who was never supposed to be a top guy coming out of this, but he becomes the WWE champion, then moves on to AEW and becomes one of their greatest stars ever and helps the new company, the biggest competitor to WWE in 20 years. Like, this turn, I think some people will underrate it. I did not. I think that is perfect in the top 5.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, I'll.
You laid a great case, man. I can't disagree with that.
You did a case like the guy from the Traders did, and that's why they banished Homegirl. So there you go.
I'm Dylan Efron. Absolutely.
You Dylan Efron. That's his name. Yep, Dylan. Dylan was like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm going in for blood, and I got my people with me, and they gonna follow suit. And that's what happened. Sucks for you, sis.
Now, the top 3, I think that you can like swap this one. And I was surprised that Sat didn't mention this one. When you said Austin in the top 3, I was like, you're forgetting the bigger one. That bigger one that even dictates the Austin one. Mr. McMahon screws over Bret Hart, the Montreal Screwjob. The Montreal Screwjob is one of the biggest turns of all time, people. Like, people sleep on it because it's real life mixing with on-screen product, but it creates the biggest heel in pro wrestling history and maybe in life. Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon becoming a heel is the Montreal Screwjob. Literally, I had to do like 7 paragraphs on this shit to explain it all for someone who doesn't know it, because you have to break down that Bret Hart was the company man and gets offered a 20-year contract, but Vince is getting his ass kicked because WCW has the NWO, more on that later, and he has to say, no, I can't pay you that, so go renegotiate with Eric Bischoff. So Bret Hart signs with Eric Bischoff, but he's the WWF champion, and so Vince wants him to lose the title to the one person he won't lose it to, Shawn Michaels, because him and Shawn Michaels are going through backstage arguments because Shawn basically alluded to Bret cheating on his wife and got hair pulled out of his skull and got sent home for 2 months, and he's the guy that you want me to lose to, and Bret's totally fine with it until Shawn tells him, I would never lose to you, so he's like, fuck that, I'm not losing to him, I'm especially not losing to him in Canada, and Vince has to orchestrate a whole screw job for Bret, making Bret like one of the biggest heroes, but WCW fucked that up. And then Shawn Michaels a big villain, but most of all, Vince becomes the centerpiece heel of the boom period of the Attitude Era. That has to be a top 3 heel turn.
Okay. Continue.
Well done.
He was a ring announcer. He was a ring announcer, a commentator before.
He was a commentator, not even a ring announcer. He was a commentator. He was over there in the corner, and then all of a sudden you seen him not even.
What a maneuver!
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, he was terrible at his job too.
He really was bad.
I got, you know what? Yeah, he was terrible, but I got nostalgia because at least it was colorful. All right, he didn't know what the heck he was talking about. You know, I miss
that was him. Welcome to the Royal Rumble. He would be the voiceover for when they had the intros and whatnot. He would do everything. He had his shit splattered all over the fucking place. So yeah, it makes sense. Okay, it's fair.
But I do agree with you on Krssi. I think that John Cena's heel turn is a top 2 one because Cena was babyface for 22 years. 22 years they put him in the Guinness Book of Records this week for being the longest time as a babyface before turning heel in WWE history.
Crying. The kids was crying. The kids, fuck them kids first of all, but still, nevertheless, they went
viral.
It went viral. Like, it's a big deal. Like, he has the most Make-A-Wish stuff, and he was like, you know what? I am ready to relinquish this title and go and be a bad guy. I respect it.
This is great. This is great for him.
This is great shit.
Because I feel like Cena's been left out of actual GOAT conversations by industry people because his character was like a detriment to what he can do as a wrestler, as a character. That's why when you watch him do his film roles, you're like, the guy's multifaceted, but he was just pigeonholed in this one character for ages. So I'm hoping that with this heel character, it will solidify him as one of the greatest. He's already been solidified as one of the greatest in terms of promo, but in terms of character and what he can do, I'm excited that Cena can show you what he could have done if they pulled the trigger. I get it, money, sick kids, and and all that stuff. But I think this will solidify John Cena up there with Stone Cold and The Rock, as because people say, well, he was that character and it's polarizing. So I'm hoping that this character is like, yeah, you got him fucked up. He's actually incredible.
Yeah. One of my last big lists was the 20 greatest WWE wrestlers of all time. And my top 5, he was the only one in my top 5 that never turned heel, like when he was on top. Like Roman turns it. I had Roman at number 5. He turned heel. Yeah, I had Cena at number 4. He had never turned heel. Then I had Rock, Hogan, and Austin, who are all on this list here. So like, Cena had to turn heel, and that's why it's so significant. And just look at how it's become this pop culture moment. Like we're gonna talk about ESPN talking about it, Jon Stewart talking about it.
Yes, Jon Stewart. Yes, he can play. Yep. He compared the Democrats and the Republicans to the heel turn. I was like, this is, and I watched that live, and I was like, yo, this is some good shit right here. Like, he was like, no, like, look, this is The Rock, and this is John Cena, but this is the Democrat. Yo, he broke it down so good. I was like, do you watch wrestling, Jon Stewart? Like, you did this so well.
He lost John Cena at SummerSlam 2015. Yeah,
hit him with a chair.
Yeah, because he's a big Ric Flair fan.
I forgot all about
Seth
that.
Rollins match. Rollins match.
See,
Title was title. United States versus World title.
Damn,
yeah, this one can, but like recency bias. That's what I put. First one was recency bias. Be damned. It's up there. It's up there in the top echelon. It can go down. It can go higher depending on what happens next. I think just off of judging it and having to rank it on the moment, it's up there. But yeah, don't let recency bias cloud your judgment too much, because number 1 is still Hulk Hogan joins the NWO, and like Seth said, it's because of the impact that it had on the entire industry. For a good 20 years, WWF was the top of the game, was the top of the food chain, and they had the number 1 spot. But for 2 years, this one moment led to WCW taking and usurping them as the number 1 wrestling promotion in the world. 83-week streak, NWO selling all those t-shirts, NWO being one of the greatest factions of all time. I don't know what Cena can do, because like Josh said earlier, the WWE is on such a hot streak. This might not make them hotter or make them bigger than they are already when you're already the number 1. This did that for WCW, so that's why I think it will always be number 1.
Yeah, and also NWO changed the culture. I mean, before that turn, wrestling was struggling to figure out where they fit into the culture, because they're still like running the old place from the 80s. But when the NWO angle started, it's like, this is wrestling in the 90s. Wrestling in the 90s was birthed at that heel turn, because after that, WWE had to change their playbook. No longer, okay, we're not doing those gimmicky things anymore. We're going to be reality-based. Even merchandise changed. You know what I'm saying? Like, DX is a Temu version of NWO. It would not have happened if this heel turn didn't happen. There's so many things. Someone in the chat mentioned about Bret Hart's heel turn. I feel like that heel turn is connected to Vince McMahon turn. So it's kind of like the Roman Reigns thing as well. The Seth turn is connected to that. So it's like, it's part of the same tree.
Yes, and what I based this article, what I based this list on, was the shock value of the actual moment, how memorable it was, the financial results, impact, and legacy. And with the Cena one, you kind of have to kind of do it for just the moment. The impact of the moment is that it's bringing new eyes to WWE because Travis Scott is involved and because it's going viral the way it has. The legacy of it, I can't judge on that, so it probably would get a 0 on that. Financial results, Elimination Chamber was a big one, and they're gonna do big business for WrestleMania, so you had to kind of project on that part. But as far as how memorable it was and the shock value of it, it's a 10 out of 10 in those departments. So that's why it's so high. Like I said, if I do the list again, maybe it ranks lower because it's too early. But if you have to rank it in the moment for that one alone, out of all the ones, it's gonna be high up there.
Listen, at least you're more respectful than what people been on Twitter in terms of like the Hogan one. They're saying the Cena one's better than the Hogan. I was like, listen, I wouldn't go that far, man.
That's not.
People hate Hogan.
Yeah,
right?
And
people hated Hogan.
Him.
People were booing him. Like that shtick from the 80s was not flying in WCW. There was reasons why that turn worked so well. We're seeing that people basically put to bed that he probably never gonna turn heel. They were fine with it. We were coping with him.
Also,
not
Hogan
heel.
was never heel. Hogan was never heel until that moment.
He was. He wasn't.
He was, but never on top. Never since he became a top star. Yeah, when he goes over to WWF in 1984 to beat the Iron Sheik, that starts his babyface turn. That starts his rise as like a top star in the business. Before that, he was a heel, but nobody really talks about that.
Once became like more mainstream, like he was always babyface, and then also he was kind of like. Yeah, he was also kind of like in the same thing where it comes to like John Cena. You know how we talking about like where Sat was talking about John Cena being the same character. That was Hulk Hogan for a long ass time, and he's still like that. But now he gets booed because of everything else.
Because he's an asshole.
Yeah, like so he's been like the same character since like he hasn't changed one bit. Like when it comes to that.
People show their true colors. They show who they really are. You have to accept it.
Yeah, I mean,
before we fly off this Cena Hill talk topic, I do want them to do more with the White Six, so I can see Uncle Howdy versus John Cena, because there's something there about him being heel. I want some remnants of white representation to point out how Bray was right about John Cena. I mean, because Bro Dallas can go in the ring. It's just they need to alter that bloody stupid wig that he wears. He's got long hair. What's up with this stupid wig? Stupid.
Why does he need fake gray hair?
Yeah, I think that's what ruins him.
That thing too.
I mean, that idea sounds cool, but the way they've been using the YS6, I'm not.
You can't. Really, you know what? Yeah, Triple H has done like the omission thing. It's like because he's barely using them, you can't judge him as much. But I feel sorry. I said to Sid that Nikki ASH stood at the pinnacle of Nikki's career on the main roster, where this should have been the deciding factor for her. But fingers crossed that the WrestleMania tag match is her and Alexa going after Liv and Raquel.
I agree with that. We do have a couple of super chat donations here. Thank you so much to Chuck Berries. He says, which heel turn and run was more worse for business? He says, was it Austin joining McMahon in 2001 or Moxley and the Death Riders current run? I mean, AEW's business was already going down when they do Moxley and the Death Riders. So it's definitely Austin and McMahon. It's a bigger drop from Austin and McMahon, where they're at the pinnacle of the business, the number one promotion, doing all these record gates. The WrestleMania 17 did a record gate, and then business steadily goes down after making this decision. So it's definitely Austin joining McMahon.
Yeah, and then also within that time frame, they kind of lucked out just because WCW was so complete shit. So it was kind of like they didn't have nothing else. And I remember that period too. When I was a kid, I kind of actually stopped watching wrestling because of the turn, because of Austin turning heel.
Yeah,
I stopped actually watching for a while.
Yeah, because you was like, this is bullshit. Like.
This shouldn't have happened. That's what I was like. I still kept watching because I was a glutton for punishment at 13.
Same.
Yeah.
But then there time to time I'll tune in, and then I'll see like when they were like tag champions. I'm like, when the hell did this happen?
I know.
Wrong. It just looked wrong.
And the worst SmackDown game came out as well. I feel like that was like symbolic.
It was a reflection of the current product. We have Dion. Dion Jenkins in the chat with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Dion, for the support. He says, I hope John Cena isn't just number 2 to The Rock. This moment would have been just as big, if not bigger, without Dwayne. No, it wouldn't. That's a damn lie.
Yeah,
that's a damn lie. Yeah, that's a damn lie. The Rock makes it so much bigger. It's one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Like, what are you talking about?
As somebody who's been very critical of Dwayne, I disagree with that.
Why are you being critical of Dwayne? Listen, if there's anyone that can cash in his goodwill, 20 years of being selfless. He's like, I'm taking this back. I'm taking this back. I'm taking this back. Brock Lesnar, we don't have the career he had.
You just haven't been watching. That's why. You just haven't been watching the show. Why I've been critical on Dwayne. I have given him his props when it's needed. So
yeah, but I'm saying of everyone that's a bit deluded. Listen, I'm not saying he's not deluded. He's deluded. 110%. The stuff that he's doing is crazy. I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. Don't think I'm saying this. I'm not agreeing with you. Some of the stuff he's doing, Cody turning heel, you dumb. But I feel like of everyone, he was the most selfless guy for ages. Put Kurt Angle over. Brock Lesnar wouldn't be asking for piss content.
A long time ago. Yeah, I agree. And I've acknowledged that though. And I've acknowledged that. The only thing I've been saying is that The Rock has an ego, and he pretends that he doesn't have an ego.
And that's funny. We all can see him. That's why we laugh at him. We're like,
no, I'm just saying he just needs to be accepting of it. That's all I'm saying.
No, he can't be. That's what makes The Rock The Rock. He's gotta be Delulu and act like he isn't.
Yeah, he's Hollywood Rock.
It's like you're not fooling me, Dwayne. You're not fucking fooling me, Dwayne.
I know he's so big he can't fool us. I mean, we can see you in your bell bottoms. And your fake belt. And that fake belt as well. Because he can't win the title. Because he got told you can't end Roman Reigns' title reign. He goes, give me a belt. And have that widow give me that belt. And make up a story about Muhammad Ali. He just on the material to make the belt that I have now. He's the people's champion. I'm the people's champion. Yada yada yada. That whole convoluted story because he wanted to hold the belt. What CM Punk said made me laugh. I was like, hey, it's true. He just wanted to hold the belt. I'm champion too.
But CM Punk shouldn't have. Yeah, he shouldn't have been the one to say that because he walked around with a fake belt too. So
no, it wasn't. What?
It was a fake belt.
He was.
He lost.
Listen, he didn't.
He got hurt. He didn't. Fragile Phil.
But he had to take time out. Listen, if it's UFC, my guys speaking UFC. You guys are interim champion until you beat me.
He lost.
I mean, we're talking about. I mean, we talking about UFC. You see that takedown that Seth took that did on Monday. Yeah, that alone tells you why he didn't last in the UFC.
He's fragile. Is it because of Becky's post? And he's like, he got upset. He started crying about Becky's post.
Well, we'll get there.